Oh wait, that's Star Wars.
What are we singing?
Here we are, rather chaotically, doing the Avengers Infinity War. The 19th movie from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Damn.
The third Avengers film.
Whoa.
They've collectively grossed $14.8 billion.
Wow.
Just to stress for everyone who's tuning in, there are no spoilers in this review. We will be editing ourselves around things, and we will be recording a completely spoiler-ridden one after this, which we'll then put out a week or so later, and it will be clearly labelled so that you won't get it ruined. From a spoiler perspective, how are we going to do this, guys?
I don't know.
Well,
It's impossible.
Nanny died.
Yeah, I
you're
mean
the worst.
every single scene of the film is incredibly shocking.
It's true. So what were our expectations going in? Kiki, what did you think of had you seen the trailers?
I wanted to see it, but I didn't think it was going to work.
Why?
Because I thought there was going to be too many characters, and I just thought it was going to be loads of like exploding stuff.
Well, obviously I have to see every Marvel film, whether I like the look of it or not. But I think I had the same fear as Kiki, that there were too many great characters and then it wouldn't work altogether. Like there would be too much going on at the same time and it would be quite difficult to understand and follow with.
well, I didn't really have any hopes and fears.
Oh, none.
In the sense that I wasn't sure who was joining up with who. I knew Chris Pratt was in it, and I knew that Thor was in it.
You're clearly across the Marvel universe here.
I just thought, as Kiki said, that she worried when she went in, I worried that there'd be too many characters and too much fighting.
Yeah, even the poster looked like they crammed in every possible thing.
When I saw the poster, I thought it was trying to be every single Star Wars and Avengers poster there's ever been before, where you have that sort of collective of faces around the big face in the middle. I had all the same fears as you guys, which was too many characters, too diluted, and I am a bit sick to death of planets being imploded and exploded. My hopes and my excitement was I knew Guardians of the Galaxy were in it, and I also was very excited about Josh Brolin as the villain. So there were enough elements there to kind of tug me in. But for me, going in to see this, it was 3 strikes and you're out. This was the last chance saloon for me, and the Avengers part of it. I do love all of the spin-off films. I like every single one of them, but with the Avengers one, I was a bit battle weary.
I'm not going to spoil it, but wow, the first scene was really shocking.
Whisper to me what the first scene was again. I don't remember what the first. Oh Christ, the first scene was very. In fact, that's one way of getting around it. Whisper it to Nan. Yeah, so that.
Oh yes.
So in the first scene, we have a dramatic departure.
Yeah.
Don't we? There's no spoiler in saying that this film plays with your expectations.
Everybody
as to
knows
which
that characters are dying.
going to die,
Okay.
and it starts with a big departure.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the first scene as it kind of started?
I think that was probably my least favourite scene in the beginning.
Was
but
it?
I know we had to have it to get the film going.
They're not always the best at starting off their films, to be honest.
They're not, are they? They're always a bit awkward.
Yeah, the
I
first
think
scene is always a little
Thor's
bit.
first scene was good.
Oh, Thor Ragnarok, that was funny.
Yeah. I think if there's one character in the whole film who's probably developed more than anyone else and is followed, it's Thanos.
Yeah.
I thought he's the best Marvel villain they've had to date.
Yeah, me too.
What did you think?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause he was evil. He was horrible. But there was he wasn't just evil. There were more layers to him. You could see that there was sadness. I don't know about guilt. I don't know if there was guilt there.
I think there was a bit. I thought there was a bit of reluctance as to him. He had an awareness of how he was having to do terrible things in order to deliver on what he thought, and it was his weird thinking.
Yeah.
His ideology was that in order for the world to sustain itself, you had to, in a sense, cull it. You had to sort of kill off people in order to maintain it. I mean, there was one great scene where he said, without giving anything away, he said, "It's been a day of huge sacrifices."
Yeah, I really liked him. At the same time, I hated him. I won't say why though.
No.
But yeah, I think he was a really good villain. I think he was one of the best villains in like Marvel films.
But you really, I mean, without giving why, he's probably
I actually hate him.
because
me too.
because what he goes on to do is quite horrific.
Well, I liked him for the things that have already been said. Like Maddie said, it's because of the duel thing. He wasn't just evil. He was very evil. But he seemed sad about that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I would say that occasionally there were things of guilt,
Yeah.
And as you said, he did seem to think that it was the best thing. He had to do it. He had no choice.
Mercy.
He felt driven.
He felt
calling it
driven.
mercy.
Yeah. So he was very conflicted.
There was also like a gentleness to his character
Yeah.
as well. Because we were saying like the villains in other Marvel films, they haven't been bad, but a lot of them have kind of been raging psychos that kind of shout and scream. And it was the way he walked around, and it took him quite a while to get angry at people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he would do awful things, but he wasn't necessarily. He was quite calm when he did
I'd go even further. I'd say that he was reluctant to get angry with people.
Yeah,
I felt he entered every single scene not wanting to go ballistic and become the typical arch enemy villain type. And I think he felt that once he met resistance, okay, well I can destroy you, so I will destroy you. But I really liked the way in which he would even walk within scenes. There was a gentleness to the way and a consideredness to the way he would, and that made me find him really chilling. Because when you saw him padding into a scene, you were kind of willing him to be kind.
Yeah.
Because you thought he had the capacity to be kind.
Yeah.
And so what did we think of his relationship with Gamora? I thought
Really sad.
it's really sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't really know on whose behalf it was. Like, it was really weird. As I was watching it, is he doing it for her sake? Is he just really evil? It was mixed emotions. I think.
What drove Thanos, given that he was the monstrous tyrant that he was? What drove him to hold on to something so pure?
Because he
and
saw the
innocent?
fight in her. He said,
Yeah.
"You've got a lot of fight in you."
And there's a really, really moving scene which doesn't give anything away. It's her origin story. But he essentially sort of moves her head to the left so that she only looks at him to avoid the horror of what's going on.
Yeah.
I thought that was an incredible
Yeah,
scene.
very caring.
But I think the reason why he took her and not somebody else is that he can grow her into becoming a fighter.
Right. So the first time the Guardians of the Galaxy appeared in it, how did we all feel?
Oh my god. I'm
Yeah,
so
I mean, let's
really
be
love.
honest.
I really love the first scene of them all in the film
Oh my god, it's so good.
with like Groot and his grumpy teenager in it and stuff.
Literally every scene with them in is just like laugh out loud the whole way through.
Drax.
Oh, Drax got all the great laughs.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
I've been standing here for an hour.
Yeah, I mean he's just so funny. And then you've got Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, still being this really sort of
Oh yeah, and that scene where they're fighting the villain and Star-Lord. What is it? It's like a
he creates a portal,
Well,
doesn't he?
Doctor Strange.
yeah, and he
Strange.
like goes boom.
And he sticks his finger up. I know that was a great moment.
I was worried that when I saw the trailer for Infinity War, that there either wasn't going to be enough of them, or their like comedic timings, they wouldn't be given enough laughs. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So I was a bit worried, but they had so many funny parts in
They
there
did.
that they hadn't.
Thor comes along, who's the biggest person in the world and incredibly muscly and handsome, and Chris Pratt immediately gets threatened.
He does, doesn't he?
And then it's very funny. It's just very
it's so
funny the
funny.
way he expresses that.
I mean, I think they must have such a cool dynamic going on between them. They
Yeah.
must have a friendship going on between them. They're
Yeah.
so natural,
Yeah.
aren't they? That's Rocket Raccoon in the background, by the way.
My fear was that all the characters from the different, like Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy and like the core Avengers, I just thought that they were going to clash a bit. It was really weird, like seeing Guardians of the Galaxy next to Avengers. They seemed so much cooler and funnier.
Were there times where you were thinking, I want to get back to the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, a bit.
No, actually,
No, I didn't
love
feel
it.
that. Because my fear was I was thinking, we're going to want to constantly be back with their banter.
I think they would have done I think if they'd done too much of it, because there were so many characters in it.
Yeah.
True.
They would have been like, oh, they're only like focusing on Guardians of the Galaxy.
What did we think of Iron Man in this outing?
I liked
I
Iron
love
Man.
him
He
and
wasn't as
everything.
funny as he usually is.
He
though.
wasn't, was he?
Oh, I think he was.
He had funny parts, but I felt like Guardians of the Galaxy really took over the laughs.
They almost, I mean, when he's on his own in a film, he's incredibly funny, but it was almost like he was outdone by the Guardians of the Galaxy lot. I mean, I thought...
Yeah, but it
I
worked.
think that's
'cause-
the point, though. I think it's like they're all kind of jealous of each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
and
it
that's quite nice.
kind of
Yeah.
worked. Like the scene with Chris Pratt is like, well, your idea's great, but it sucks, so I'm gonna do mine. And
Yes.
It's like I don't know. It kind of worked that they took over all of the laughs and
Yeah.
As I say, that's Rocket Raccoon choking to death in the background. Thor?
there wasn't a lot.
What is it? What's your bite? What's your beef with Thor?
No, I didn't really focus on him in the film. I wasn't really thinking about him, but with the other characters, I was like, oh, where are they? But with him, I don't know why. I just didn't really think
Yeah. Every single character in this film is taken so close to death.
Yeah.
So was he.
Yeah, and that's
The
what I mean.
track.
So was he. But I mean, there were times where I thought, oh well, if he survived that, he'll survive anything. I mean, I do
He is a god. Like,
Well, but that goes to some of my problems with the entire concept. Is sometimes they're so impenetrably unkillable,
Yeah,
and then at other times they seem ludicrously vulnerable.
that's very true.
And so there's, sometimes you sort of think, well, why on this occasion didn't you just do what you did on the last occasion?
Yeah.
Which would have got you out of it. I sometimes feel
well,
like
I think a god still gets a bit tired.
even God gets tired.
Yeah.
Is he a
And I think-
demigod? No, he's a god.
Quite a funny line where they're all like looking at Thor sleeping,
Oh.
and Jack said it's like his dad had a baby with an angel.
It's like his
Chris
dad.
Pratt's like getting really jealous, like.
I thought the dynamic. I have to say, I thought some of the Guardians of the Galaxy scenes were some of the best they've ever made.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought even better than the first film. I tell you, it was a surprise for me was Doctor Strange. What do you think
Oh
of
my
him?
god, I
Oh
really
yes, we
loved
all
him in
said that.
this.
I think when we
I don't know
came
if
I
you
out.
didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
I find it cringe with his superpowers when he puts the shields up and is like. It's just really like.
Yeah, he
I find
does.
it annoying.
I always think he looks like he's got a plate on the end of each hand.
Yeah.
It's the way he does it is like.
No, it's really. I find him so.
No,
I
his
really
powers.
like it.
His
But
powers are really cool, but
Yeah.
I just don't like the way he does it. It's
I
like.
love it. It's like.
I thought they had a really clever bridging scene where they explained the importance of the Infinity Stones,
yeah.
why he was after them all,
Yeah.
and where we were at. And I thought, great, for the uninitiated,
Yeah.
that really orientated us, so we knew what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I thought it was a really clear film actually.
I thought
Yes,
it was
I
really-
did. Much
Because
clearer than I
usually
thought it
I
would
feel
be.
with the other Avengers and quite a few other Marvel films, they're really complicated.
Yeah.
I managed to understand
Yeah.
them in the end, but like, you know, there's usually so much going on. And
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to be double this because of the amount of characters
Yes,
and the amount of
exactly.
different scenes happening.
Exactly.
But I felt it was clearer than any other
I
Marvel film
agree.
I've seen. It was really weird.
But anyway, the Elizabeth Olsen character, what do we think of her?
She's the one with the
Scarlet
red-
Well, she does all that
Yeah.
as well,
Scarlet-
Scarlet Witch. Do you find her irritating?
Well, she
with
can
her-
hold things off.
I like she's really powerful in it. I
Yes.
like that. I didn't really think about her in it. With the other characters, I'm like, oh, where are they? But then, again, with her, I don't.
I know one of your favourites in it, Spidey.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
I
Sandman.
think he was really good in that because in the Spider-Man film they made, I don't think he was that good in it.
Yeah.
I think he could have been better, but in this, I think he was really funny.
I'll tell you what it felt like to me. It felt like the actor actually felt like he actually belonged.
Yes.
I
Whereas you felt like he was applying for the part
Yes.
almost. and
Yeah,
it's-
because I can imagine it's quite hard because he's a lot younger than
yeah.
any of the other actors. They're quite big actors. So it must have been really hard for him to get into it.
And when
That's
he
why
kept-
he must have found it quite difficult to settle into Captain America Civil War.
But also, he was the sort of ultimate teenager, so he kept calling Tony Stark. He was sort of
Yes.
like Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark. And that was done really nicely because clearly Tony Stark's got a real soft spot for him.
Yeah.
Didn't want him to be hurt.
What about Vision?
I hated him.
Oh, did you?
Oh, did you?
Like Maddie said in the other film, I found him really annoying.
What about Captain America's arrival?
Yeah, I haven't got
I
a lot of
mean,
time.
people aren't going to like me for saying this, but I've never liked Captain
Yeah,
America.
It
Same.
causes great upset online when we say we don't. Now listen.
Really?
We are enormous fans of the Marvel universe. We expect high standards from the Marvel universe. We just find, and we recognise the importance of Captain America in the
Yeah, it's
universe, and
important.
it's
We can
important.
do
But we
without
find him a bit dull. I mean, we can't help that. He's just a bit
He
dull.
has no laughs, and all of his entrances are so over the top, and I'm never
Yeah.
interested. Like in this one, when he first appears, there was like, you know, dramatic music, and like he stepped out of the shadows. Like I couldn't care
He does
less.
step out of the shadow a lot, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
With his like really big beard, and I'm like, what are you doing?
But
Yeah.
I would like to say that they got his
Greasy.
hairpiece right this time.
Yeah, his wig didn't look.
I
As
was
that wig?
examining the edge of it. Looked
I
really
didn't
good.
know.
They've either
I didn't
seen
know
our
it was
film.
wig.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. I think they must have seen our reviews and me saying
That's
how.
it
Huge
annoyed
spoiler
me because it was
that he's got a
greasy.
wig. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the biggest spoiler is
Of all.
Captain. There's a lovely josh between Captain America and Thor where they comment on.
Oh, in the middle of war,
Yeah.
and they're just
Yeah.
like, you copied my beard. If you had a haircut, yeah.
I felt an audible excitement when we went to Wakanda and Black Panther.
Oh my god,
Oh,
me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like going home.
It did, didn't it? Yeah, you were
Yeah,
right.
it felt really emotional back in Wakanda.
I love Black Panther. I don't know why I love him so much.
Yeah.
There is something there's a sort of dignity and a sort of gentle strength to him, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which-
It's like you can just look at him and like just love him.
Ant-Man wasn't in it.
No.
No.
I thought he was. Unless he was
Neither.
in it, but it was so small you couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Neither was
yeah.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
But
wasn't
Hawkeye
in it.
did retire in the last
Oh,
one.
That's
yeah,
true.
okay.
He's probably sort of shooting arrows in his garden or
Yeah.
something. What about the Hulk? Can't forget the
Oh,
Hulk.
and the
Oh, Mark Ruffalo.
I thought he put in one of his best performances
Yeah.
in the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he's.
Kind of wanted him in it more.
Yeah, I wanted him a bit
Yeah.
more. Whenever he was in it, it had a lightness of touch and a sort of.
Yeah.
He's very funny.
Well, he's
isn't he?
very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I could have done with more of every character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was too much of every character, the film would have been longer, and we would have complained about how much of every character there was.
Very
I find.
true.
I think there was just the right amount of all of them. It was so emotional, them all being
Yeah.
together as well. I was like, I feel like I know they're all my friends because I followed them for
Yeah.
so many years.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
But I mean, even though this is a non-spoiler review, we have to say that by the end of the film, I think all of us were crying.
Yeah.
I don't think I've cried that much in a film.
I
Really?
had tears coming from every
Yeah, I was like
side of my face. I had
I've
tears
never
coming
seen
from
you
my
both look so
forehead,
tearful.
from
Yeah.
my cheeks.
I mean, I noticed your entire face was wet.
Yeah, me and Maddie were like the
And
whole
snot
time.
going everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that serves as an indication of how profound an ending there is to this film.
It didn't seem to me a very long film. I know
No.
some
Yeah.
people
I
might
liked
disagree
it.
with that.
It's
And
2.5
so I
hours
thought
long.
there was still time
Is
to
it 2.5?
go.
It was so funny though because it just stopped the end, and then Nan was like, "This is the end." She just started crying.
Yeah, because then I realised that it was the end of the film.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be okay, Maddie. They're gonna explain it. Something's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
gonna be alright. And then it just ended, and I was like, no way. How long am I gonna have to wait to find out what actually happened?
Do you know
Yeah.
what I felt at the end? I felt I was reminded of the lack of having a father. I wanted to leave the cinema and ask for someone to make me feel better.
Oh my god.
I felt, no, and I'm being honest, I felt totally cut adrift. What the future is, none of us knows. Where we stand, we are perplexed.
Or even if there is a future to it.
I
I
mean,
don't think we can downplay the importance of Josh Brolin. Maybe we've said enough about him, but his presence all the way through it, and this conflict of personality, and the fact that clearly he's evil, and you know his plans for the world are ridiculous, but he is a complicated character, and because of that, he wrong foots you slightly. The softness of
Very
him in
true.
one sense. And he's on screen all the way through it, and
Yes.
so I think that's really quite important.
Yeah, I'd say he was the main character.
Yeah,
it's a film
actually.
about Thanos.
It is.
Which is rightly so, given that they've spent 10 years, Marvel, building us to this moment. I mean, without again giving it away, I'm really curious in the coming weeks, since it's been released in the last 2 days, to know if Marvel are playing an incredibly clever or risky hand of poker. It's a complete game changer for the franchise, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, it's a complete reworking of everything we know.
Yeah, just
And that doesn't happen that often anymore.
No, true.
There wasn't one scene where I wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
Like every scene I gasped in.
I was shaking when I walked out. I was just so sad and stuff.
Oh, you were?
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
were in a
shocked.
stunned silence
Yeah, I
all
was like-
through Wagamama's.
This is gonna drive people insane. They're gonna be like,
I know this is the best way to deal with spoilers, is just to keep teasing. It reminded me of when Star Wars finished in the 70s and you knew you had something like 4 years before the story would be picked up or resolved.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, on the one hand, it made the sort of memory of the film so much stronger. It also made the impact of the film so much stronger. And I wonder whether Marvel, very cleverly, unlike the Star Wars franchise at the moment, they've nicked that concept.
Yeah,
And they're
maybe.
using it at the end here, where we're all going to be left for how many more years? 2 years before there's a new
Yeah,
Avengers film?
yeah,
It's truly earth-shattering, the end of this film.
yeah.
at the end, I wanted to scream and smash
Yeah.
something.
Wow.
I wanted to go.
If you're a Marvel fan, you're definitely crying it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the friends I know that are Marvel fans like me that have seen it already, they're just like, how? How could they do this to
Yeah,
us?
yeah.
And I hope the way we're talking about it helps drive you to go and see it, because I think it'd be
It's-
awful if anyone gives a spoiler.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
good.
It's so good. And Kiki is our fiercest critic. isn't
Yes.
she? I mean, did you like the other Avenger films that much?
They were okay.
Scores on the doors, and why? Kiki's gonna go first.
Yeah.
Hang on, our sharpest film critic. I can hear, hang on. Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard, they're all waiting to hear what Kiki says.
You weren't sure, but I think I'll give it a 10.
Whoa!
Whoa! Sorry.
Whoa!
Wow.
I don't think there was like anything wrong with it.
Wow.
I mean, there was only one thing wrong with it, which was really sad. But there wasn't one moment in it where I was like bored or anything. I was
No.
like concentrating on the film the whole time.
Which is quite something when you say it was 2.5 hours long, and it didn't feel
It felt like an hour.
I even thought it was a bit too short.
Yeah.
I did. I could
well,
have done
I
10
feeling
more
was-
That's
minutes.
exactly
Yeah.
what I was thinking at the
Yeah.
end of it. It's
So wow, a big fat 10.
Wow, that's a lot from Kiki.
That's something. Okay, Maddie.
I'm gonna go for a 10 as well.
Whoa! We're going to 10-10.
No, yeah, I'm going for a 10.
Good
10
for
out of
you.
10. And totally recommend, especially people that have seen other Marvels, or even if you haven't seen a Marvel film,
Yeah.
I do
to
If
go
you
and see
don't
it.
like that,
Yeah, if you don't like that film, if you don't cry at the
Oh, I
end,
see.
Yeah.
You're mad.
your heart
Yeah,
loses.
there's something wrong with you.
yeah.
Nanny Di?
8.5,
Ooh.
which is a lot for me.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, an awful lot of that goes to Josh Brolin for the reasons that I've said. He's on screen all the time. He makes you feel a lot of things.
I'm going to give it a 9.75. I think it's the best Avengers film. I think it was probably one of the best Marvel films there's been.
Yeah.
I think it delivered in every department. It was wrong-footing me everywhere. It recreated that sense of adventure and a lack of knowing what was going to happen at any point that very rarely creeps into these kinds of films, because you know the franchise has to protect everything so much.
Yeah.
So everyone in it feels vulnerable, and for me that added a certain electricity to watching it. My man crush of the year, Josh Brolin, has only
that
got
about
bigger.
every man?
Has only got bigger, and I just want to be one of the Infinity Stones in his gauntlet.
Weird.
It's
Sounds
really
very
odd.
weird.
I just want to be part of his glove.
Okay.
Okay,
At
Mark.
one point, yeah, because at one point I turned to Dad and I was like, at this point anything could happen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
lost all.
Yeah.
Because usually when you see a film or you see a series,
Yeah.
you just know that certain things aren't going to happen because
Yeah.
they can't.
Yeah.
But this just totally left me like, no, I
I
don't
don't
feel
know.
I can hold on to anything.
I'd even say it's one of my new favourite films.
Really?
Whoa.
What? Even more than it?
No, not more than it, but one of my favourites.
Oh.
Like after it.
Wow.
That's big.
That is
That
big.
is big.
Okay.
There you go.
So see it.
See it.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.